Good evening everybody, welcome to another episode of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be painting some exciting miniatures live on stream for you to come and paint your miniatures or build your miniatures or do whatever hobby stuff it is that you're going to be doing tonight to provide you with a little bit of company no matter where you are in the world. If you're watching live, hello. If you're watching back on the replay, sup? Cool. This evening I've got a very exciting project. Going to be starting on my D-Day commemoration piece, which I'll get more into a little bit later on. But if you're new here or if you haven't done this already before, please do subscribe to this show if you like what we do, because we're here for you. We're here for the community. We're here to bring everyone together, and the more you share and talk about Easy 8 and the community itself, the more people hopefully will know about it, and the more people that want to come and subscribe. We are just 17 subscribers away from me reaching 200 subscriptions, and when I do that, I will let my cats into the studio. Still don't know how I feel about that, but we're getting very close. 183 is a really respectable number. Thank you so much to everybody who has already subscribed. But it doesn't just stop there. You don't actually have to subscribe. You can thumbs up this video and every video. That would be really nice too. You could talk about it with some friends at work. You could like leave some comments down there in the comment section, because all these things affect the algorithm. All hail the algorithm. So yeah, if you like what we do, please support us by subscribing. I can see we've got loads of people in the live chat already, and if you are painting something this evening, I would genuinely love to know about it. So come and tell us all about it, whether you're painting a project, building a project. Do you know what? You can even be doing pottery. I don't really mind. Maybe you're watching it on your phone and you're taking the dog for a walk, having an evening by yourself. Let's get together, talk about your projects over here in the live chat, or later on in the comments, whatever you like, and come and tell me all about it, because I'm genuinely interested. Anyway, that was very exciting. Got it all out in the first go. We're not just here on YouTube, of course. We're on Facebook as well. We're also on Instagram, and you can join me at the end of the show if you like. On Discord at the Easy 8 After Party, which is becoming a little bit popular lately. And I'm having some very, very late conversations going on into the wee hours of the morning. Saturdays are always so tired and sluggish, but I love it. So come along if you want to. Who have we got in the comments over here? Let's have a little look already. We've got Table of Horrors. Hi, Table of Horrors. We've got Kez. Hi, Kez. We've also got Jeff. Hi, Dad. Staff's just joined us as well. Thanks for coming along, guys. Nice to see you all there. I can see that some people are talking about their that they're bringing their Panzers, bringing their tanks in this evening, because tonight is the first show where I'm going to be painting my Sherman M4. The reason that I'm painting this isn't just for me. This is, if you remember a few weeks ago, I made a little unscheduled video talking about Duncan's band of brothers. There's a little link down there which you should definitely go and click on. I've spoken directly with Duncan. He's a really nice guy, and he's got a really wonderful charity where he has got 4 big tables, gaming tables, all put together, and they represent Braycourt Manor, which was one of the assault locations, the initial assault location rather, for Easy Company on the D-Day landings. The celebration, the 80th celebration for which, is on the 6th of June this year, 80 years away. With all the media that I'm aware of, it still feels like it was fairly recent, but 80 years is a long old time, right? A long old time. And Duncan's charity isn't just doing it for D-Day. He and his little band of friends travel around all over the UK, taking their exciting table to hospitals, to schools, to any institution where anyone can come and see and have a go and have a play, learn about games, learn about the model community, and learn about the history associated with it all as well. There's so many things to learn from, and it's really, really exciting. And because it's such an exciting venture, being the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I have decided to paint this M4 Sherman and donate it to Duncan and his cause, hopefully in the next few weeks in preparation, so I can get it sent to him nice and early. And some of you guys have joined along too. It's not too late to join in. If you want to do that, by all means you still can do. You can bring whatever model you want along to kind of paint along with us here. If you want to donate your models, they have to be time specific to that period. So, you know, June 44. So I'm doing an M4, which is a 75mm cannon. The 76, which is also quite famous, didn't appear until a little bit afterwards, so you won't see those sorts of tanks. So if you want to donate them, that's absolutely fine. They have to be 28mm. And to support that, Grant at Overlord Games is also providing a really charming 5% discount on all bolt-action miniatures, be it tanks, be it vehicles, be it units, or whatever you want. If you want to go through the online web store for Overlord Games, there's a link just down there to both Duncan's Band of Brothers and Overlord Games just down there. If you want to take advantage of the 5% discount, all you've got to do at the voucher code at checkout is just type in EASY8, all one word, super simple. And that's it, you'll get 5% off. And I'm going to say, the 5% doesn't sound like an awful lot, but they're already heavily discounted prices, so you're getting already about 20% off of the regular retail price on that as well. And then you can have the extra 5% off as well to celebrate either the D-Day celebrations or Warlord Games' latest exciting release of Achtung Panzer, which I haven't had a chance to yet play, because I've been waiting for this to turn up. It's all constructed into sub-assemblies, which is cool, because I've not done that before with a tank, and I really should do that in 28mm. And yeah, I need to paint it and get it done quick. So, no more talking. Go grab yourselves a brew. Let's get some colour on your grey. Going to take you over to the workbench now. Here we go. I've been really wanting to drop that little punchline for months, and I keep forgetting, and I was like, I'm going to do it this week. Get some colour on your grey. I want that to be my slogan. Why not? It sounds really cool. Yeah, anyway, come and tell me about what it is that you're painting this evening. I know there's a few of you guys that are doing some exciting builds for Duncan's cause. We've got Kez is doing a Panzer 4. Do you know what? Kez has already started and has already got to the camouflage stage and has decided to do that. I'm going to call it the dapple effect. I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically lots of like camouflage dots all blended together, and it looks really, really cool. Saw a photo of it the other day. Looking super cool, Kez. Well done. Staff says that he is building a Tiger tonight, another 28mm one, so that's going to be exciting. So good opponent. Didn't really see the Tiger one at the Battle of Breakout Manor or Carantan or anywhere like that, because that was all down on what I will crudely label as the American side of the invasion. The British side was further up, further east along the coast, up towards Sword and Gold, I believe might be the names of the beaches there. Where we're focusing here is all Utah Beach. Those are all code names, of course. They've all got their own, probably very French names for their beaches, which I don't know the names of. But the British were the people who really came up against the Tiger resistance down at Breakout Manor at the Utah Beach and things like that. Later on, when they came up against the Panzers, it would have been a lot of Panzer 3s, Panzer 4s, Stug 3s and 4s, things like that, and Panthers by the bucket load, I imagine. But that's not to say that that Tiger is not a good contribution, a lovely contribution, because they're not just representing that particular battlefield there. They are just going away and doing games and introducing people to bolt action, basically. So a really worthy cause nonetheless. Overlord has joined us. I can't quite see what's written behind that heart there. That logo does my head in. I can't get rid of it. It says Panzer Panzer 4s and a Tiger 1. Oh, Panzer 4 and a Tiger 1. There you go. Cool. Sweet. Happy weekend. Cup of tea. Lovely. It's actually been sat on the side for a little while, so it's a little bit chilly, that one. What I've got here are all of my sub-assemblies. So what I've gone and done in my infinite wisdom is I've left the track sets off of the hull. So the hull's all built and all the little bits and pieces, all the details are all there and primed, so that's nice. I can get straight into it tonight. Had a little bit of an overflow issue with the airbrush. While that looks a little bit ugly here, that's actually really, really flat. There's no texture to that, so it should hide with a bit of paint. It's also underneath, so who cares really, right? So that's the hull. Obviously got the turret right here. The cannon moves. Yeah. And I've also got the tracks. The reason I've left the tracks off is because when they go underneath these sections, it's really hard to get a paintbrush in there and paint the tracks. And I've never learned my lesson until now. So yeah, I'm going to be able to keep these off. Got a bit of blue tack with a skewer, and I can airbrush them, etc. Yeah, and I'm just going to get stuck in and start painting. Cleaned out the airbrush the other day. It's running like a dreamy thing. The only thing that I noticed that I haven't done yet, and this is just an oversight which I can fix later on, doesn't matter about painting now, is I haven't put the on the machine gun on the on the cupola here, I haven't put the box mag on the side of it, which is just going to be a really simple addition. I'll just glue it in later on. I'm fairly certain that there's a trigger that goes with it as well, because there would be like the hand grip trigger, blah, 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 blah. Maybe. Although I do think on the back of these big ones, they had like handles at the back, didn't they? So I wonder if that's it there. But there's definitely a box mag to go on it, so I've got to add that in later on. But, you know, the machine gun's going to be one of the final things to be painted, so I can just add that on later on tonight or tomorrow, whatever. So, I'm going to start on the tracks, because the tracks, they're going to be darker, they're going to be shadowy. I'm going to be using this set here, the modulation set, so it's all about shading through shadows through to highlights and everywhere in between. And I can start off really, really dark, and I can build up lighter. So while I'm kind of getting used to the flow of the paint, etc., I can build up, build up, build up. I'm going to start with some olive drab shadow. This is the darkest of the 6 paints we've got in here. On the back of the box, it suggests through its medium of pictures that you should start with a primed vehicle, and then add in your shadows, and then build up all the way down. Typically, in the past, what I've done is I've started in the middle and then gone down to shadows and then gone up to highlights. So I'm going to follow it this way, because I did that with the King Tiger a little while ago. I didn't see a massive difference in the way that I was doing it, but I'm going to give it another try, because, you know, exciting things, right? I need to see, we've got a really big comment going in the live chat there. Hi everyone, it is Rob here. I haven't made the show for ages and ages. Nice to have some free hobby time and be back. I was working on some Necromunda last time I was here, and I'm still on that. Well, Rob, it's lovely to see your name in the live chat again. Thanks for coming along, and it's just great to have you on board again. The whole point of this show is so that you can just find that little bit of hobby time. So even though you've still got the Necromunda that you're working on, glad to have you on board, and tell us all about it. And if you're stuck in the mud with it, give us a shout, because, you know, we're here to we're a community, we rally together, right? That's what it's all about. I'm trying to tidy up my workbench, but as I'm doing it, I'm making it worse. Excellent. Here we go. So, olive drab shadow. It's basically like a browny green. I'm going to give this a really, really good shake, because my Wazomatic is not working anymore. We were talking about that at the after last week's show on in the after party. Like, yeah, it's still there on the desk, but it doesn't work anymore. While I'm shaking this, of course, I should probably turn my compressor on. I need a new compressor. There's a leak in one of the joints in my compressor, and yeah, I can't seem to fix it. Might have another go at taking it apart, but it's actually really difficult to take apart. It's got a storage tank, an air storage tank, underneath where the actual pump is that kind of pumps air into it. The idea of that is it stores air rather than just kind of giving you a direct feed. And you can buy those as well, they are cheaper. But if you have a storage tank, you are more likely to have a constant, steady flow of air rather than spits and spurts. Probably at my level, it's probably unnoticeable, the difference. I don't know, because I'm not very good. But you know, I like to have it. Why not? Overlord says, "What is a WAS?" Good question. A WAS. A vortex mixer. A vortex mixer. So this is a really cheap one. I say really cheap, it's still 30 quid. It's covered in dust now because it's been sat on the side. It plugs in with the mains, and you put your little paint pot here at the top, and it shakes violently and aggressively as to mix up the medium that you are using, be it paint or whatever. And I find them very handy. It was a fraction of the cost for a proper decent vortex mixer. I wish I'd bought one of those because they're indestructible. Kez has got one, I believe, in the live chat. A few people have got one, and they're really good. I just haven't got around to buying one. Vortex mixer. I like to call it a WAS. I call it the Wazomatic. Give your paints a WAS. I try to make this family friendly, and it just doesn't sit well with me, that word. But it became very popular. So yeah, it's a Wazomatic. Bit concerned about my airflow. My airbrush has been working fine over the last few days, but getting a very limited flow of air. Wonder what's going on here. I'm going to have to take my airbrush apart. The other day it was working absolutely fine, and normally when I push the trigger after a little bit of air's gone in there, it's normally absolutely fine. First things first, I'm just going to have a little look to see if there's a mechanical problem. It's got a little bit of primer still in the pot, but it is clean on the inside. Just going to take that out, see if there's any problem on the inside in there. Nothing. The spring on the inside seems to be working fine. This is not a great start to my little build, is it? That's all looking good in there. Let's take this little bit out here. That's all good. Okay, cool. That's where the air comes through from the lining. It might be that there's such a leak now in my compressor that the air isn't building up quick enough. Got about 20 psi in there, maybe a bit more than that. So let's have a little look. Put my line back on it. What I'll do ever so quickly is I'll just run a little bit of cleaner through it. Let's do that ever so quickly. It is looking very clean though. The problem is, you see, is today I haven't had the chance to inspect it before the show went live, which is something that I normally like to do. But it's been quite a long day at work today. Not a particularly trying day. Where's my cleaner? It's not been, an overly trying day. Just that some days we get, days that take longer. I've got a special little cleaning needle here. It's got like a point on it and a flat edge. And it might just be that there's a little bit of a build-up of painty gunk or something in the nozzle. That's quite often where it comes from. In fact, what I could do... Excellent, that's where it is. I've identified the source of the problem. So, I've got the little nozzle protector. Can see the nozzle. This is the actual nozzle. This is where the paint comes in from this side here. The needle sits on the inside, and then when you pull it back, it allows paint and air to come through. When the needle goes up to the end, it creates a seal. And because it's such a tiny, tiny hole, it's very easy to bung up. And I had a little bit of cleaner sat in it just overnight, just to help break down anything that might have been stuck in there, because primer can really build up quite quickly. I think what's happened is it's just kind of gummed up on the inside. So I can see right through it now. Excellent. Wasn't able to a minute ago. What I'll do is just pop that back in, run a little bit of water through it, and that should clean it all up. One of the things I've been praised on this show, and I still don't know how to deal with praise because I'm not very good. I keep saying it, but I'm not very good. One of the things I keep on getting praised for is the realism or the down-to-earthness. There we go, that's working better. Because, well, it's warts and all on this show, isn't it? It's a live stream, it's what it's all about. It's not edited, I can't plan it. I don't script it, don't believe in all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, what I'm going to do, let's get my little purge tank out. I've got a big thing of water, I'm just going to fill that up, like that. And hopefully if there's going to be any more blockages, it will happen now. And I'll be able to troubleshoot that. And it'll clean any last little bits of cleaner that's left in there. And any second now, I'm going to get some paint on my grey. It's going to happen. Water is moving through a little bit slower than normal, so that does tell me that there is probably a little bit of gunk in the nozzle, which might shift as we start painting. It might get worse. There we go. So, shadow. I'm going to put 6-7 drops in there. I think what I did there is I just popped probably about 10 or 11 in there. And then what I like to do is chuck in a couple of drops of flow improver. And I'll chuck in just a little bit thinner. Don't normally put thinner with this brand of paint because they are so silky smooth to start with, they don't really need it. But I've got this feeling that with that little gummy blocky upness, That's the technical term for it. That just a little bit of thinner just might help it flow, you know, better. Where's my mixing brush? There it is. Just going to give that a little bit of a stir in the bottom of the hopper down there. Table of Horror says, do you remember when Danny just used to use regular old brushes? Those were the days. Do you know, ever since the show started, man, I've had an airbrush. I just go through phases. When after a while of using just the brush, I really miss the airbrush, and then vice versa. After a while of using the airbrush, I really enjoy going back to good old bristles. It's nice to have both. I'm better, way better, with using an actual brush than I am with an airbrush. But I enjoy them both equally, and they both do different things as well. Really good for doing vast coverage for horde armies, or just large vehicles, you know. Just go back and have a little look at some of the comments here. I'm gonna have a little look to see what we've got. Let's go up. There's loads of talking here. Talking about going to Exeter Legionary. Yes, Exeter Legionary show. It's a little model show, war game show. Me and the Easy 8 team, we go there every year. Overlord, I believe, are going there this year. So we're going down. We're going down too, man. So if you want to come and meet the Easy 8 team and the Overlord team and everybody else that goes there, come to Exeter Legionary on the 11th of May. Yes. So just gonna get that first tiny layer down, and I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I'm gonna move away from that side there. I'm gonna come back into this one, and the reason I'm doing these two pieces at the same time like this is because when you get that first layer of colour down on the primer, and when you do the primer as well, is get that first layer down so you can almost barely see it. I've gone a little bit heavier than normal because I'm just a bit heavy-handed. What can you do? Let that dry and then build up on top of that, and you'll get really silky smooth layers. I'm just excited to get this done. I'm also a little bit off target. There we go. Back to the first one. Let that one dry there. Hit it with a bit of cold air. I'm going to move that out of the way because I'm going to break that before I even get to it. Cool. I'm being asked, have I got any more workplace injuries? What was the last... Because they all blend into one. Please, what was the last workplace injury? Was it the roofing nail through the foot? I call it a roofing nail. It wasn't that big, but it was still a good 6-incher. Yeah, I stepped on that, and then worked the whole day with a nail hole in my foot. I pulled it out and did it myself, and then walked to our first aid point and dealt with my own first aid. Worked for 9-hour shift, then drove myself 20 miles to the hospital. And then went and did a first aid at work course. It was just really poorly timed. That's the one that stands out in my memory. I am a klutz. Going to hit the back here as well, because I don't want any white or grey bits showing through from the other side. And this is all the shadow colour. And the idea with the shadow colour is it will just build up an interpretation of shadow. And then later on, lighting effects. Get a bit heavy there, so I'm just going to come away from that and go back to this one here. Have a little look more at some of these. Oh, Kez. Oh, Kez can go. I thought you said you can't go. Oh, yeah, excellent. Would love to go if there's room with the lads. Yeah, there's always going to be room on that road trip. Let's go. It's only Exeter's just down the road from us, really. Would be good trading there, so it would be good to say hi. Because Overlord, I don't know if I'm overstepping my bounds, but you are you are trading there, so it would be really cool to see you trading. And of course, we're going to support people who support us. Absolutely. Yeah, nail in foot, says Stafford. Yep, cool, brilliant. Out of this world, Models and Minis has joined us. Hi, John. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming along. Just stopping through. Say hello. Hello, mate. It's been ages since we've reached out and connected. I've missed you, man. I'll tell you what. Your Judge Dredd model that you keep posting about is looking, and I'm not just saying this to boost your ego. It's looking phenomenal, man. We've been following each other now for several years, and I've watched your painting ability grow and develop astoundingly, way beyond my level. So bravo, sir. It's a really, really brilliantly painted model, and you know what? It's appropriately styled as well. It looks like you captured the essence from the old 2000 AD comics, and it's just absolutely mega. So well done. I applaud you. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you should go and check out John's YouTube channel and his Facebook page. Out of This World Models and Minis. He's just a really cool guy. He lives over in the States, so our time zones always never meet up ever. And basically just paints whatever he likes, and that's what I like about John's show. It's just, I like this, I'm going to paint it. So yeah, War Games pieces as well. So around the front and back wheels is most likely where I'm going to see a little bit of the inside, if you like, where you'll most likely see something like that, because they poke out a little bit, especially on the front, because they'll be like positioned here and here. So I want to make sure that we've got really good sort of paint coverage. Now what's really important is I make sure I get right into all those little areas where this paint needs to be. If I don't, you're going to see bits of primer and they're going to be really prominent and sticking out. So I need to make sure that I spend that time, probably the time that I've saved by using the airbrush, making sure that I've investigated properly and that paint is going into all those tiny little recesses. And the only way to do that is to have a little look, get the airbrush nozzle right in there, and give it a little bit of a blast. Now when you're using an airbrush, the further away you are, the larger the cone or area effect. So it comes out not in a straight line like a laser, it comes out like a floodlight, and the further away it goes, you get like a big cone of paint. So the further I am away, the more coverage I'll get, but if I'm up real close, I'll get a really sort of dense or saturated colour spot. So there's a fine line of being close enough and far enough away, and also the amount of pressure that I put on the airbrush. I don't want to oversaturate the area because all the paint will come out and flood. That's pretty much how this happened underneath here, and I don't want that to happen with the colour. This area here is all going to be hidden underneath the side of the hull, but you will just about be able to see it depending on the angle that you look at. So that little piece of hull that sticks at the top up there, that needs this shadow colour, and I'll paint the track separately much later. Cool, looking pretty good there. Now, I've overdone it really with the amount of shadow that I need. I don't actually need to have the whole thing shadowed. It only needs to be like the underside where the light won't get in. But what I'm going to do is get everything painted with the shadow colour, because it's going to sit right into the recesses. And then I'm going to basically do like a zenithal approach while using the next grade up, and I'm going to angle it so that it's going to come in from sort of a raised angle, if you like, to emulate or simulate, whatever the appropriate word is there, light coming in. Now, modulation effects aren't actually a realistic thing. They simulate light or shadows and highlights. Actually, what you really want to do if you want a realistic thing is just paint it one block colour and let real light and shadow do its thing. But I'm a fan of rendering, if you like. It's a piece to colour in, and I enjoy doing that. And it still looks really, really nice and effective. It doesn't look unrealistic. It's just another way of doing it. And run out of paint. And I just like playing with the olive greens as well. They are really nice. Rob says, I love the Warlord Games Judge Dredd models in game, but I have so much Platicome I can't justify buying any yet. Yeah, that's the problem with this. It's a hobby that can really get away from itself. So you gotta watch the bank balance, haven't you? But the model that John has done is actually like a full-on figurine, or so. It's a good 12 inches by the looks of it, and it looks really, really nice. I don't think it's a gaming piece. I think it's more of a fun display piece, and it looks super cool. Overlord says, how are you finding the war paints fanatics? Oh yeah, war paints fanatics. Fanatics war paints. War paints fanatics. It's Army War Painter, isn't it? They're the guys that have created it. But the Fanatics, yeah, I've been following Fanatics ever since they initially started talking about them. I'm really excited to get my hands on some. I don't want a full set of them because I've got quite a lot of paints. But every now and again, like, it's nice to have like just a particular paint. Like orange, I find I struggle with the saturation of orange, so to have a high pigment orange will be really handy. And that's basically what Fanatics are all about. Everything I've seen so far looks absolutely brilliant. But, you know, it could be propaganda, it could be a load of rubbish, but I don't think they are. They do look stellar, and Kez has got some. How are you finding them, Kez? Oh, the tanks. Sounds awesome, says Rob. Yeah, I just love painting tanks. I don't necessarily find as much joy painting all the support vehicles that weren't tanks in that era. So, for example, like the Puma, or things like that, like the wheeled vehicles. I don't know what it is about tracks and turrets. That's my jam. I love it. And that's not to say that I don't appreciate those vehicles, but I would sooner paint something with caterpillars than with wheels, so to speak. I just find them fascinating things. And I also like things like bulldozers and stuff like that. I think it's just like a childish, boyish kind of thing. You know, when you're a kid and you've got like your toy cars and things like that, but you've also got like a crane or a bulldozer or something. They're just as exciting to me. It's not just about the guns. Okay, I'm going to leave those alone for a minute because they probably going to be quite tacky for a little while. They need to dry. I'm going to come to the hull now, and what I'm going to do with the hull is I'm just going to spray underneath where the tracks go, because that's going to be wreathed in shadow too. And yes, I sound posh when I say things like wreathed in shadow. Don't know why I said that. Makes me sound cool and British, which I suppose is a good thing because I'm cool and British. Thank you. Darren's joined us. Hi Darren, nice to see you again, mate. How are you doing? Are you doing well? Kes says, good, thank you. Much better than the war paints they used to do. That's cool. Just a shame they don't do one of the greys that I use. Oh, maybe they will do. So keep your eyes peeled. You never know. They might expand a little bit more. Darren says, most of my stash are 1/35th wheeled vehicles. Hey man, you like what you like. 1/35th is a really exciting scale. I love it. I've got 2. I'm going to be honest with you, they're still not completed, and I've had one of them for like millions of years. Just needs a bit more weathering on that one, to be honest with you. And another one is still just a work in progress, which is a little Stuart tank. Because I've got so many things, I like to dip between them all, and sometimes I just kind of get like zoned in on one. You know the score, you know the drama. Let that side there dry, and come back over here, do this bit here. I'm also going to do the underside of here. And of course I'm going to do the belly of it as well. Is belly the right word for a tank? No. Spin it around so I get no artifacting from like raised details where you get like a little white line around it because the paint wasn't coming in that direction. Don't know what it is about greens. I just find them really satisfying colours to work with. And I've worked with olive green. Not a lot, actually. I've done lots of little 15mm models, which I don't get to really explore too much in the modulation sets because less is more. You just try to do a little bit on them. But the bigger scales you go, you get to do a lot more sort of shading and things like that. Have I run out of paint again? Oh no, I have. I'm going through the shadow quite a bit today, aren't I? I'm just going to turn the compressor off a little bit because it's got such a leak in it. It's just running on overtime at the moment. It's just going to overheat, and I don't want it the best in flames live on show. That would be too embarrassing. Darren says, I've recently given a 1/35th Matador gun tractor like my granddad's 1:1 scale. Oh yeah, he actually had one, didn't he? That's exciting stuff. Was your granddad's painted in any kind of unique way that allowed you to copy it, to kind of like paint in a homage style, or was it just kind of like painted up in just, you know, the normal way? Because I like to do things like that, like when you know someone who's got the very thing that you're painting, is to kind of do sort of a bit of a tribute to what they've got, and, you know, paint their name on it or something, you know. Paint it in the way that they've painted it, perhaps. I remember that, says Jeff. Yeah, it's made by AVF. It's made by AVF. Never made one of their kits before. Very detailed look into the build. Excellent. Haven't got the compressor on, so in a minute the pressure in this is going to die. And I'm not going to know what's going on. I'm going to be very confused by it and be like, why is the pressure gone? Because I don't remember anything. Right. What this needs now is a good amount of coverage, just to cover over all the shadow now. Let's wait for the pressure to build up a little bit more. As long as I don't get any blockages or anything, that should be a really nice smooth layer now. might come back later on and do another quick one just to make sure that it's got decent saturation. Excellent. Right, let that dry on the side too. I'm going to do a little bit on the turret. I don't do an awful lot on turrets. I like to do the underside of them because there is a little bit here that you can see at the back, and obviously there is the cannon too. I'll let it spill over a little bit onto the outside edge there, but generally it doesn't need an awful lot of shadow. Hit that with a little bit of air, dry that off nice and quick. Cool. Lift up the mantlet a little bit so I can get some in there too. Don't tell me I've gone through all that already. Ah, clearly I didn't put enough in there. Alright, do you know what? I just need a couple more drops, don't I? That's all it is. Two drops. That's all I'm going to do. I'm a real stickler for wastage. Like I don't like wasting stuff. So if I can save just even one drop of paint, then I'm going to do it. And I've also just picked that up and put my thumbprint right in it. So hopefully that won't show through. Paint job later on because that'll be very frustrating. Cool. I'm going to get a little bit just inside in there. Why not? Lush. Brilliant. Right. I've got a little bit of paint left inside, so I'm just going to hit the bottom of this tank again here. One of the things I also like to do is do a little bit more darker shading to the rear of the tank. So what I'm going to do is this, and I can build up over it later. But I like to have the base of it as dark shadow as I can get. And I'll build it up from there. I'm actually going to put one more drop in. One more drop. Here we go. And it might be really too dark at the moment, but it's okay because I'm going to come back in with some lighter colours and I'll attack it all later on and build up those layers, making brighter and brighter. Done. Right, cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clear out the airbrush, get rid of that colour for a second, and I'm going to give the compressor a bit of a rest while I sit and think about what it is that I'm going to do next. I know what colour I'm going to use next, but I want to know exactly where I want to apply it, how I want to apply it. Have I done a good enough coat already on these things? Not in some places. There is a lot to be said about stains and things like that, and I will stain this. I won't, probably won't do an acrylic stain. So I'll probably do something like panel lining and things like that, like I did with the King Tiger. Right, let's kill that. Peace and quiet. Ooh, the heat coming off of that. Yeah. So I've got most of the shadow done here. You can see that it's patchy. It needs another go. That's fine. I will do it again. I don't want to like do it too much, build it all up too quickly, and it be like thick and unsightly. These are looking pretty good. You can still see that there are some areas in there that need a bit more attention, and that's fine. I'm going to come back in a second and do that again. This one's looking a little bit better. And this is obviously the main armament, so this is kind of the character of the Sherman and the cannon. So I want a lot of focus and spend some time doing this right. And I don't mind spending quite a bit of time getting these base layers down. I'm trying to think about the stages that I'm going to go through while I paint this. Obviously the primer is built, is primed, etc. What I need to do is do what I call basing. So that is basically getting all of the colours blocked in the right way. So getting all, basically do the green bit. Yeah, that green bit is made up of 6 different greens in various different luminosities. So I will get the tank painted green, and then I'll go through and I'll do things like the tracks and the guns and things like that. That's all a part of stage 1 there, and that's quite a long time doing all of that. And then there's of course getting all the details done. Details are something that I forgot to do on the King Tiger until like the last minute. I was like, oh yeah, details. I took another episode doing that. There's quite a few details on this tank, then they're really, really nice. They're at the back here. There's lots of tools and things like that over there. There's some guns that stick off of them, some tow cables and bits and pieces like that. And then I'm going to put the decals on it as a part of that stage, but I suppose that is a separate stage. And then it's over the top of that is the weathering, and that's what really puts the character into the tank. And I want to keep this tank quite light. If I go back to my King Tiger, I did a very deliberate move of making it very dark, foreboding, and it became quite an intimidating character. I wanted that. I think it still needs his tracks done, but you can see there's a lot of weathering on there. Really chuffed with how that came out on the turret. I did all the shading, all the rendering on this beast, like I've done with the modulation set here, and it worked really, really well. And then I did the camouflage over the top, and it lost all of that effect. You can just about see that the yellow colour is lighter at the front and darker at the back, and it really did look very good. But the camouflage just stole the show, so that's another aspect to think about. I think it'll be easier to do in a larger scale, like 1/35th, for example. But less is more. The smaller your scale, the less you need. So something worth considering, especially at my level, because as I keep on saying, I'm just not very good. Should I get some comments that are coming through on the phone over here? Oh, lovely. Someone wants to give me a high performance keyboard. That's not a comment, that's an email. Okay. So I clearly need to go back and have another go at the shadow. Really set that in there, because you can see that the primer's coming through. Missed a couple of spots in these areas too. So while I want to jump ahead, rush into the next shade, it's really important to establish that shadow colour and make sure that all the primer goes. When I start doing the next set of colours, yeah, for sure, I've got more primer to worry about. But I want to really make sure that when I've done shadow, I don't have to go back to it, because if I hit it over the highlight colours, I'm going to have to redo all that. So, yeah. Basically, do your job properly, Danny. Putting quite a bit of paint there. I'm going to get some flow improver. I'm going to put a couple of drops of thinner in this time, because it was being a little bit problematic. Not too much. Lush. And with whatever water's on the end of my mixing brush, just mix that up in the hopper. Yum, yum, yum. Mix all those things together. Cool, so get the compressor built up again. Some comments. Very lively live chat there. I can't keep up with this, so I'm just going to chip in wherever I can. Wow! Oh my god, I'm so behind. Never heard of a gun tractor. Sounds cool. Yeah, it's just a really big lorry that just towed artillery. It was fantastic. Kez says, so I've used fresh rust effect paint from Army Painter. It's amazing, more so when combined with their rust tone wash. Brilliant. I'm really happy that you found joy in doing weathering effects in it. I tell you what, it's going to open a new door to painting. You're going to love it, and it's going to affect all of your paintings from now on. You're going to love weathering. It's great fun. We're looking forward to open our first brick and mortar location in 2025. Shut the fridge. That's exciting stuff. If anyone has a minute, it would really help us if you filled in our survey as like-minded gamers. Do you know what? let's talk about that a little bit later on in the show, maybe after coming back from the intermission or even right at the end of the show, and if necessary we'll do another little mini show on that, because that's a really big bold step, man, and all power to you, much love. I hope that really works out. Of course I'll do a survey. Let's get that survey out there so you can get the feedback that you need. That's amazing, says Kez. That's brilliant. Yep, wicked. Do you know what? Stick it as an attachment as a comment to this video and it will stay there permanent. Like, at least that's one area that people can go to if they want to. Yeah, wicked. Maybe I can convenience Danny to come and be the celebrity for the opening day. Absolutely, I want to be there. Of course I do. I do like winter effects. Yeah, man, you're gonna love it. Where would the store be? In Somerset. Lovely. That sounds so cool. Dry brush all the way, Kez. Yeah, I struggle with dry brushing. It is good. It always looks like dry brushing whenever I do it. Other people are much better at it than I am. It has its place in my repertoire of skills for sure. Good luck, Overlord. I'll try and visit you. It's been a while. Brilliant. Yeah. Loads of love going in. Cool. Adrian has joined us. Hi, evening. Nice to see you again. Happy to report a bit of success for this week. The repaint of my 2 Layman Rusts is now finished. Pics on Facebook. I'm looking forward to seeing those. Also finished all my 15mm German tanks. On to my next project. Yeah. Gotta go, says Darren. Happy modelling. Thanks very much, Darren. Nice to see you again. Take care, pal. Right, before the break, what I'm going to do is just get this shadow painted in there. Now, you'd think that it's really easy to do with an airbrush, but it is tricky. I get very excited with an airbrush, and I think that it's going to solve all my problems, and I'm just going to get maximum coverage straight away. It's not the case. Take your time. Don't rush it, because what's going to happen is, just like going in too thick with a normal brush, you're gonna overpaint, and it's gonna look awful. So take your time. Now, I've just realised I started off on a conversation talking about washing and staining, and I went off on weathering and then read the live chat for a bit twice. But what I was talking about earlier on with the staining or washing or shading, whatever one you want to call it, is that it can hide a multitude of sins. So later on, if I find that I've missed a little bit of primer and it still shows through, I can come back, stick a little bit of weathering on it or a little bit of shading on it with a wash, and I'll be able to hide it. But I still want as little of it to come through as possible, so that I don't end up having to stick a gallon of wash in there later on. Yeah, but like I said, I don't really want to do an acrylic wash because it's bubbling a little bit. Stop bubbling, you. Because I want it to be like enamels to be my wash, really. I really like doing acrylic washes on 15mm tanks because they do weathering and shading and shadowing and pin lining or panel lining all in one big hit, and that's fabulous. But the bigger your scale, the more you'll want to put some attention to detail in there. So yeah, go try and avoid an acrylic wash. Just going to do the back of that one as well. Lovely. Back to this one here. We're pretty much getting ready for a little bit of a break, aren't you? Jeff says, are you going to put a name on your Sherman? In short, yes. In slightly less short, don't know what yet. So, being that it's a model from Warlord, it comes with a lot of decal water slide transfer things. That's fun. It has some names in there, the bomb being one of them. But if everybody did an M4 Sherman from Warlord, they'd all be called the bomb. So am I going to try and paint one on? I'm going to have a little practice if I've got time. Can I create another name by mixing up all the letters from all of the decals and make it look good is another way of doing it. What I don't want to do is just create a random name like, you know, Otter's Shoes or whatever, you know. What I want it to be a proper name. But if I can't, then I'll probably just go with the bomb. Feels like a bit of a cop-out, really. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how this is all looking down here. Just gonna establish that shadow on the back there just a little bit more. Okay, I've got a little bit of paint left over. I don't really know what to do with it. I'm gonna go to the turret and just do under there again. Let's do under the cannon. Under the bit at the back. Drop it on the floor. Why not? Yep, do that too. It's really important. Got to make sure that I mess it up. Cool. Yeah, on the paper. Oh, that was quite a bit of paint. Oh dear, I hate wasting. That's going to sit with me for the rest of my life. Cool. Let's get that in the purge tank. Clean that out. Well, I'm pleased to report that the airbrush is purging really quickly now. So that is a good sign. That means that whatever gunky build up, and it was probably just a little bit of like alcohol cleaner inside the nozzle, just kind of probably melted down whatever primer was left in there from the previous paint job. That seems to all have gone. So yay. One last little blast through there. Yeah, turn the compressor off. Excellent, cool. We're cleaned out. So, as you can see, it's time for a break. Just a little catch up on some of the comments that are going in here. I agree with that. But Danny, I see. Do you know? I will do my best. I will do my best. I'm not very good at text, and it has to be quite small, and I have to look neat. But I'll give it a go. Think you got to think about American girl names. Daniela. Was thinking about adding something to my tank so I could hopefully pick it out in better photos, but I don't know what to do yet. You should do your style and just paint it pink. Rob says, congrats Adrian, always good to finish a project, love the Lame and Rusty. Yeah, do you know what, actually out of all of us, I think Adrian is the most consistent about bringing finished products to the table, so yeah, do you know what, well done on that front. I am clearly the worst, but you know, got to keep up appearances, haven't you? Right, just going to clean that brush out. Lovely. Going to be back in 10 minutes because it's time for a break. It doesn't feel like it's that time already, but it is. So if you want to go and stretch your legs, refocus your eyes, whatever it is you want to go and do, that's absolutely fine. You should go do that now. I'm going to go grab myself a grown-up juice. You could do the same. I'll see you back in 10. Whatever it is you go and do, go change your paint water. Do it. Bye. welcome back. Hope you had a good break. I went and got myself a grown-up juice. Happy weekend, everybody. Cheers. I've started to learn to distribute my vodka ratios to my Coke a little bit more appropriately, so it's not like so difficult on the tongue. Let's get rid of the cup of tea. I'll finish with that. Drank all of that. Let's get the vodka in place. There we go. Lovely. Oh, I found my cleaner. Yeah. So yeah, basically, I'm looking at the tank, thinking that actually the shadow is pretty much done. There's a couple of areas where I could have done a little bit better, but the tank tracks are going to go over it, so it doesn't really matter. That's the places where I'm looking at. On the back of the tracks, I could do like a bit more behind where the wheels are, but I'm fairly certain that's going to look okay, and I can always like go over that by brush. So just quite keen now to kind of press on, do more with the olive green, get the different colours out, cover up all the white parts that are still left on the tank. There's still a lot to go, and I realise I've just spent an hour just doing shadows, really. During the break, I also took the opportunity to have a little look at the leak that's on the compressor for my airbrush. The same place where the leak was happening previously is happening again now. I've managed to kind of sort of chalk up the leak with a bit of blue tack. Hopefully that's going to sort of slow down the loss of air, but I'm looking at the pressure gauge now. It's just emptied itself, so that's not so great. I'm going to have to take it apart tomorrow and have another little look, I think. Anyway, choking on my own tongue. If you're new, please don't forget that you can subscribe, and I'd really like it if you did, because it would make my world. It's all about making this community bigger and better, and just full of people who love the hobby, and it's here for you. I create this show 2 hours every week as a minimum, so that you've got this time allocated to focus on your hobby, be it painting, be it building models, be it drawing pictures. It could be singing. I don't really mind, really. It's all about bringing people together, and I just enjoy being the reason that people do come together. So if you know someone who you think might benefit from this show, go and tell them all about it. Share the word of Easy 8 and get them to subscribe, because every single subscription I notice, I feel, and it makes my day. So if you don't mind, please subscribe. I'd love it if you did. Thanks very much. Yeah, cool. Let's go back to the workbench. Let's crack on. Here we go. I don't feel like I've done an awful lot, but you know, it's all about stages, isn't it? So that's shadow. The next colour I'm going to move on to now is dark olive base. And what I'm looking here to do, I suppose, is build in this shadow and kind of make it not a really dark colour. I'm not really making any sense. I don't want this to be a dominating colour. It's to be in the areas that you're not really going to see, to be the places where the sun don't shine. But I want to grade it in, graduate it in, smooth blend it. Blend. Yeah, let's go with that word. Stop making words up and just use words that exist. Yeah, there we go. I can see that Jeff during the intermission there was asking Warlord if he stocks 28mm farm tractors that would work for World War II to add to the courtyard of Breakout Manor. But no such luck there. But do you know what? If the community was to go out and search for a model that could do that for you, or maybe even a very high quality 3D print that I'm sure that this community here could help you out with, I strongly recommend going over and having a look at the Facebook page for 3D Gizmo, because we seem to meet those guys at a lot of the sort of Southwest shows, and we even see them now down at Bovington Tank Museum, and they know us by face and name, and we know them in the same way. And it's a really exciting exchange that we've got between us. Two different hobbies that kind of have a bit of an overlap, and we're making that community work and really stretching out, and that's really nice. But they've got, and we've seen their stuff, man, we've seen their stuff, so go and check out their Facebook page, because they might be able to help you out. They do a lot of 135th, but it might be that they've got they've got what you need. Worth checking out. Also on the Facebook page is the community of people that print, so you might be able to reach out to them and go, hey, has anyone got XYZ, and they might be able to help you and supply you, and that's just really cool when the community comes together and helps each other out. Right, go turn the compressor on. Gonna get some of this dark base in there now. And I'm just gonna fill the bottom of the hopper up there. I'm not even counting drops now. I'm being really brash, very cavalier with how much stuff I put in the hopper. a couple of drops of flow improver. I really like this. I was watching a YouTube painter guy. The channel's called The Source. You need to go check the guy out because he's really cool, and he's a very, very capable painter. And he says he doesn't use thinner anymore. He just uses a flow improver because it improves the flow. Obviously, it says it on the tin. But just by adding something that isn't paint into the medium is thinning the paint down, isn't it? So it does what it needs to do. He's not buying multiple things, and he said that, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that too, but I've got a boatload of thinner that I might as well use because I've got it. So yeah. Anyway, the difference in the colour, as you can see here, unfortunately, the light levels that my camera suggests are good when I've got a piece of paper down. It's a bit too much, but if I've noticed if I bring the King Tiger in, it brightens everything up. So now you can see the difference in the colours down here on the page. You can see that there's a very dark shadow and there's a not so dark shadow. Thank you, King Tiger, for helping us out with the camera. It's a funny world I have here. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just get this colour down. Got a lot of spatter going on there. I'm going to take the nozzle guard off, and I'm going to just give the needle tip a bit of a clean down there. There's a bit of tissue. Could be there's got a little bit of paint build up on the needle, and it's just spraying out a bit of spatter. That's smoother. There we go. What I'm looking to do here is fill in the gaps between the two colours and then bring that green a little bit further up on the model. And I'm going to use this colour all inside the turret ring there, because you're not really going to see that, and anywhere that you would see it, it's nice to have a darker version of the colour in there. I don't think it's necessary to use the shadow colour in there. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get myself a little cotton wool ball, that's really hard to say, because I find these really useful just to kind of smush onto the end of the needle without damaging it at all. Obviously I'm being gentle with it, but it just cleans that needle tip down, and I can also just pull the trigger there. It kind of creates a bit of a semi-seal around it, and it blows a little bit of air back through and just shifts the stuff around that's been sat on the nozzle. So if there is a build-up about to happen, it stops it from happening. Like a little cheat code, really. Okay, I've done it again now. I've put my thumbprint right on the side of that panel. Okay, let's try and hide that. What a special boy I am. Okay, also going to try and bring that colour up the front, because the shadow colour comes up there too. Excellent. I'm just going to leave that off to the side. Going to come back in and basically now just really push this shadow colour down that's on the turret. And again, bring that green colour up as we go. Just trying to get it in behind the mantlets there where the cannon sits into the turret. Still looking very dark, but that's okay because I know it's going to get lighter. Now, what I'm going to do here is I want to create the illusion of shadow. So I've got shadow color in there. What I'm going to do now is angle this a kind of like a 45-degree angle of attack, and I'm basically going to come in with a nice distant shot and basically create a light beam that's going to come down and basically just hit all of the exposed areas. But because I'm hiding a lot of the areas underneath the tracks, should get like a bit of a zenithal lighting effect. And that's starting to work. Now I've got darker shadows and lighter front bits there as well, and the more colour that I do on this, the steeper the angle will be and the lighter my approach will be with it. That's cool. Compare the two, I can see the difference. That's nice. Not going to do it on the reverse side, just want that to be shadow basically. Lush. See if I can hide that dirty little thumbprint. What a silly mistake that was. Sorry, Duncan, for leaving my thumbprint on your tank. Okie dokie, starting to get somewhere now. Gonna bring a little bit of the dark colour here. Again, just see if I can get it in behind the cannon parts. Lots of comments going in. I've not been looking at them a lot, have we? Let's have a little look. Question out of interest to the collective: any of you using oil paints over enamels? I have just a couple of oil paints, and I do like working with oils. I just find the process a bit messy. I use enamels, they're quite easy to contain, and these little pots are very easy to use, but I find the process of using like oil-based thinners or like the spirits basically messy, so I tend to, I suppose, subconsciously avoid them. I've got a black and a burnt umber. They're very good for doing weathering. I don't use them very much. In fact, I've only ever tested them and played with them. Could I? Yes, absolutely. Would I get really good effects with them? Almost definitely. Just don't use them don't use them enough. Kez says, I do not use oil paints. Yeah. I do occasionally, says Adrian, although I have found the need to varnish the acrylic before using oil-based paints over them. Interesting fact, you shouldn't have to do that, but I also feel that as well. It feels like that maybe my application of putting the oil paints on top is a bit rough, and it kind of chips away or wears away the acrylic, which is often very fragile, as where oil paints are often very, very sturdy. You shouldn't be able to affect one or the other with each other. So even using like spirits and thinners and things like that over the top of acrylic should be absolutely fine. But I think it's just because that acrylic is very delicate and it tends to wear them away. Interesting though. My sister is asking about oil paints for use in mini paintings, says Table of Horrors. Yeah, it is the old-fashioned way, and the reason people moved to using acrylics was because the colour ranges were much more vibrant, and there was just a more extensive range. But in the modern world, oil paints have quickly caught up, and because they are, even though they are a little bit messier, you have a longer working time with them, and they're much more forgiving. It's very easy to correct mistakes with them, and it's very easy to achieve some wonderful effects with them as well. So if that's in, something that your, did you say your sister? Yeah, what's your sister? Wasn't it? Yeah, your sister is actually considering. I say just go for it. Do it. What's the worst that's going to happen, man? Buy a couple, see how you get on. Rob says oils can be a lot of fun, but yeah, I agree. Got to be careful with the layers. Yeah, for sure. Can take a long time to dry. Yes, they can. But you know what? If you can sit down, do a little section, move on, or have a couple of projects, come back to them, and kind of work your way around and extend your painting time. If you end up with a couple of hours and you've only got like half an hour's worth of work to do, if you had 3 or 4 of those projects, then you can fill your time accordingly. I try not to use paint up to 24 hours, if I recall. Yeah, absolutely. It depends on the products that you're using, how much you're using, but yeah. Enamels, they dry very quick. But they are still spirit-based, so you've got to have those spirit-based cleaners. Oh, keep on knocking out. So again, just going to do another angle of attack. Nice. Another one here. I made a bit too much paint in this one. Yikes. That's a bit of a waste, isn't it? Well, what can you do, eh? Okay, I'm going to get the purge tank in. I'm actually going to put my needle protector back on while I give it a clean, because you basically end up having to shove the front of your airbrush into a big pot, and that's a great way of destroying the tip of your needle. A sip of drink. Yes, why not? Yum, yum, yum. So there's a lot of material in there, it's taking a long time. Okay, cool. Well, that was really just to sort of blend that shadow colour back in. So what I'm going to do is move away from the dark base, and I'm going to go on to olive base. Now this is the colour that the tank is going to be, and from well, after this paint is kind of working up through highlights, I'm going to basically cover up all of the remaining white, blend that other colour back in as well, and then from there it's all highlights, and I want this tank to be quite light. Because I don't normally do light tanks. I want it to be quite pretty. Hopefully it'll stand out nice. And yeah, so I'm going to be using a lot more of those highlights. I'm also going to later on come back in with maybe this one or the next colour with a transpirator, which is basically an airbrush glaze medium, which will allow me to bring all the stages of the blending process together and just lighten up the whole tank without actually kind of saturating the tank. That'll make much more sense later on. We've done this before on the show, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't often, so don't fret. Okay, so this is just olive base. This is natural olive green. This is the colour that we all know and love with allied tanks of that era. So what I did earlier was I put a couple of drops of flow improver in and a couple of drops of thinner in. 1, 2, and some thinner. 1, 2. Love it. Get my mixing brush with whatever little bit of water's on the end of it as well, as long as it's clean, which it is. Just helps the mixture of all the paint in there. Okay, cool. So Let's bring in the King Tiger again to help lighten up the whole camera effect. Now you can see there's a massive difference in the colour there. So this is all shadow basically so far. Just going to make sure that this area here is dry. I'm going to come in for a nice angle of attack on the tracks here. It's the bogies that I'm doing, not really the tracks. They're going to be painted by hand much later. Okay, here we go. They're going to need a couple of goes over to get that effect right. I'm really used to doing it in a different way, where I would start in the middle and then work down the shadow and work up through highlights. And I think that's just an easier process for me. I'm actually not finding this very easy to achieve my regular sort of standard or style, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, I went a bit heavy there. Nah, well, whatever. Okay, let's go to the hull. I'm just going to give that some air to let that dry. Looks really weird, doesn't it? Looks really dark, really bright. I'll blend it all together. Gonna take those shadows right back. What's happening here really is that the primer at the front is really punching through that green, making it appear really light and bright. So when I really settle this colour in, it's going to be a bit less white. And then of course when I blend it backwards, you're going to have the shadow colours pushing through the green as well. So it's all about the base layers coming through. It'll probably put a little bit of bit darker at the front there. It's actually going through very light. It'll all dull down with a bit of weathering, of course, and some staining. Already that shadow effect is really working. It looks a little over the top at the moment, but that will, he says with a little bit of hope in his voice, that will die off. It won't be so vivid later. Oh, I think I've gone through all the paint already. Okay, cool. I'm not going to bother really with a little bit of thinner now. That seems to be flowing through quite well. So I'll just mix that in there and just try and do the last few bits and pieces. Much brighter than my normal affair. Can't stop it from spinning in my hands. That's very frustrating. There we go. Cool. I'm going to come back to the tracks a minute, and I'm just going to hit those with some air, just to make sure that they are nice and dry. Now you can see there's a massive difference in sort of colour, basically, brightness, between the top of the turret there, or even the front of the hull, which is slightly off camera. Let's bring that back in. There we go. To the colour of the tracks here. So what my attempt is now is to bring this up a little bit brighter. Not that much brighter, I just kind of want that green to show through a little bit. But I also need to dull down the front of the tank a little bit, so I need to kind of make them meet in the middle a little bit. There we go. Excellent. This is very much a trust the process thing as well. Remember the first time I was doing it, I was like, well, this looks brown, this looks totally different, this isn't the green that I want it to be. But I know from experience that this is fine. The first time you do it, you're like, what? Yeah, that's looking really cool. We might actually go back over with some of the darker greens at the front, because it is very, very bright in comparison to the back there. Very, very bright. And I'm not going to get any darker by adding more of this green. I'll get more colour saturation. So I might actually let it all dry, obviously. Come back in with the dark base. And just, yeah, build on top of that, perhaps. That primer is really doing a very good job of making the colour shine. Maybe a bit too much for my tastes. Anyway, let's get the sides in play. Oh, I've gone through it again. Crazy stuff. Do you not put any weight in the model tanks just to make them a little more stable on the table? Well, because they're very low centre of gravity, I don't really need to, but it is nice to have a bit of weight in your tank. Perhaps that's something that I can consider with this before I send it away, is to put a little bit of something in there perhaps. It is definitely worth thinking about. It will make it feel more substantial for sure. Just a few drops of this colour in there. There we go. Just want to bring the sides in. Okay. I'm just chewing through my paint. Getting very trigger happy. Just trying to get a little bit on the top of that commander's hatch there. Okay. Do you know what? Now I'm looking at it, I'm quite into that bright colour at the front. it is going to be blended together. So the transpirator here's the transpirator. This is something that I bought a little while ago. I saw Mig Aminez, the guy who is the master behind Ammo MIG products. I saw him using this. You can get a matte and a gloss version. At the very least, you might be able to get a semi-gloss too. And it's basically a medium for the airbrush. So by adding your colour and a 50-50 of this product, or even more if you wanted to, will give you a much more transparent layer. So you can see that I've got a very steeped blend of colours in saturation and luminosity and brightness. So I've got a very, very dark olive green up to very bright olive green, and that's going to get more accentuated as I go through the colours. By adding this in there, I can have a transparent colour, apply that over the top of all of those blends, and it just ties them all together and just softens the blend areas together. What do you call those bits when they where an area blends? It would be a terminator, a blendinator, you know, the moment. Creating new language parts here live on Easy 8. The moment where the colours sort of blend together, it softens them and then basically applies a filter of that colour. So if I wanted to filter the whole tank this olive base colour, I could just do it with an olive base. If I wanted to go the lighter colour, which is light olive base, I could make it brighter just by kind of tying it all together in that one thing. Moment. Creating new language bits. Love it. Who is this guy? He's called Danny. Why is he talking? Excellent. Let's get rid of what's in the airbrush there. Lush. I'm going to move on to the next colour. I am determined to get at least to the next one, which is light base. Still got 20 minutes of the show. Don't know why I'm panicking. Crazy. Haven't asked since the beginning of the show. Everybody else is obviously here doing their projects. I'm just getting excited and forgetting you, leaving you behind. How are all of your projects coming on? I'm really interested to know. So do tell me. Put it in the live chat. Put it in the comments down there if you're watching later on, video on demand. I genuinely am interested. Rob says, I'm off now. Thanks for a nice hobby evening, everyone. Hopefully you'll be back soon. Nice to see you again, man. Take care of yourself. 4 Orlok gangers and a buggy built. Happy with that. Nice, mate. Well done. Yeah, it's okay to wait with oils if you've planned it or if you've got other stuff to work on. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. It's very easy with acrylics to do what I do, which is basically go, oh, I've got some time. I'll come in, I'll have a quick go, and then leave. But with oils, you kind of got to plan it. So if you know exactly what you're going to do, and if you're good at what you do, and planning your time, which I am not, is probably the way forwards for you, really. So many wheel rims to paint. Yeah, are you talking about like the tyres, essentially, around the wheels? If you've got a colour like Corvus Black. Have I got Corvus Black here somewhere? I do somewhere, but it's a million miles away, isn't it? I've left, yeah. Nope, that's a grey. It's called Corvus Black, and I've used it so many times on this show. It is basically a grey, right? It's a very, very dark grey. And it's really good for doing tyres, especially tyres back in the Second World War. Tyres nowadays, we've got modern materials, I suppose, and modern processes and machines or whatever, and tyres and dyes, right? And we can make tyres look really black and make them look sleek and shiny, whatever. But as far as I'm aware, and I wasn't around back in the 1940s, but tyres weren't really black back then. So yeah, do them very, very, very dark grey and it will look really nice. I think that it's too much contrast on a small model as well. That's really important to understand. When I first started painting my tyres black, I was like, wow, that just pops too much. Staff says, my rims are going Chaos Black, I don't care. I like it, it's fine, whatever, man. But also, you've got to think about your colour balance. If you're doing your tank in Panzer Grey, which by the way isn't appropriate for Breakout Manor, but if you are doing Panzer Grey, doing a very dark grey might just blend away a little bit. Who knows? Yeah, that's right. I'm using Army Painter Hardened Carapace. Just looks like the colour in the picture. Sweet. Excellent. Right, moving away from base, let's go on to light base. Acid base. Smack around the face. It's tire. Was it? Tire chat. Is this an F1 podcast? Yeah. Jeff says tomorrow I'm cutting the base for Breaker and adding the 1mm blue foam cut to thousands of cobbles and paving slabs. Fun. Doesn't sound like it, but I know it's going to look amazing because all the pictures that you've put up of Breaker Manor so far look absolutely stellar. I'm not just saying that because you're the old man, because it's just incredible artistry that you've got going on there, and it's going to look astonishing. If anyone's interested in seeing the Breaker Manor build, which is for Duncan's Band of Brothers, it is going on the table. Head on over to Facebook, for Easy 8's Facebook, for an exclusive. It only exists on that Facebook page at the moment. It's not being released on any other Facebook or social media, so you can get like basically, I don't know, like first row seats. Why not? So this is light base, which I'm just using to accentuate some edges, corners, etc. I'm doing what I've just decided to call the T-zone. So there's a crease across the top here, that first slant that goes into the glacis on the front of this Sherman. From here, so basically across that line, I've done a wide line of light base, and I've done like a bit that kind of goes down the middle, sort of, bringing a little bit of focus to the front of the tank, because that's the business end of the tank, right? It's the way that it's going, it's directional. And I'm also doing like a little bit of a line down here, but not going all the way back, and I'm keeping that a little bit narrower, so I'm getting a bit closer for it, because it's like creating an arrow. I feel it's like I'm creating a sense of direction, a bit of flow, a bit of interest. The back is darker, intimidating, the engine is greasy, it's dirty, the front is in your face and in your business. I also like to hit a little bit just on the edge of the mud flaps. Are they mud flaps? Fenders? What are they? The little bits that stick off the front there. Just because I like the light to kind of come in directionally from the front, like a spotlight's on it. I'm also going to hit fractionally just at the back on the corners with a light. Oh, I was going to say a light misting. I went a bit heavy there. I'll dry that down. Maybe I'll come back in with some shadow and sort that out. I had a bit of a heavy trigger finger there. I did it again. Okay, well at least both sides match. That's the hull. Cool. Let's do the turret. I'm gonna do quite a bit on the cannon there, because the cannon is the thing, right? It is the gun on tracks, right? That's what it's all about. The Sherman is the gun, essentially. Well, that's kind of actually a bit of a fib, but if you look at a Sherman, that's the bit that's going to worry you the most, isn't it? So I like the eye to be drawn to it, like that. And I'm also going to do there's very soft corners, soft edges up here, and I like to do those all in the lighter colour as well. Lush. Going to pop that over there. I'm also going to do a steeped angle. Steeped angle? Effect on the tracks. That's looking pretty cool. Just in time to run out of that. Beautiful. Okay. The compressor's smelling warm, and it's getting quite quite warm beside it, I have to say. I'm going to keep the airbrush just there. I'm going to shake up this one here. So this is olive drab highlights, and then it goes into shine. I don't really use shine. It's almost white. It's separated in the pot, but it's almost a white colour, and I don't really use that on 28mm. It's a little bit too much. I might just do like the very tip of like the antenna, or maybe like the very end of the cannon barrel perhaps. It's a little too much on a model this size. On a 1/35th build, much bigger. Anything larger than that, perfect for it. You can do all your highlights for that as well. But this might be the colour that I pretty much go to. So yeah, we'll have a little look. We'll see. It's really looking absolutely fabulous so far. Really happy with the way that those colours have blended from dark to... And while it's taken some time to do, I've had that time aside for this particular part of the project. It hasn't been a chore. It's been, these paints are so high quality and the colours are so lovely. It's just a joy to do, and as long as your airbrush is clean, it works fine. So you can see that the colour difference here, really pale, so I've got to be very careful with this. Just basically a couple of drops. I'm going to put a little bit of thinner and flow improver in there just to thin it down so it doesn't come out so stark. So yep, yeah, 2 of each, why not? So I can get a little bit closer, take it a little bit more gentle, and get a little bit more of a defined, more accurate shot with the colour, rather than kind of coming away and flooding the whole area, essentially. Mix that up, mix that up. We are about 10 minutes from the end of the show, but that doesn't mean that the painting stops there. You can join me after the show on the Easy 8 after party on Discord. There's a link to all of our platforms, by the way, all just down there. Go and check them out. And then before the end of the show, I want to talk a little bit about exciting Overlord opportunities. Right, it's getting so exciting today, isn't it? I'm going to put a little shiny bit just on the corner here, so just there. Like that. A little bit just here, yeah. Put a little bit on the hatches and a little bit just over the edge there. Now this stands out quite a bit, but this is where the blending with the transpirator will really come in. Do you know what? I'm going to do a bit of a T-zone as well, just for funsies. Yeah, I should have done that, never mind. I like that. Okay. That looks really cool. I like that. Sick. That's nice when it goes right, isn't it? I feel like I want to do a little bit here. Shall I? Shall I? Probably not. No. This looks terrible. Okay. Don't follow me, kids. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. Yeah. Pointy, soft pointy corner bits. Like that, yeah. It's like rosy cheeks. So we basically, on the turret compared to the hull is very rounded edges, very soft edges. And it's really nice to get some really nice rendered effects with these colours. And I like to use like this corner and this corner here, and I'll take photos of it later on so you can see much better. They're like little cheeks, and you can kind of just come in with a nice sort of blended area of this colour, and it just sort of sets the turret off. And I like to follow that around a little bit, just around the top curve, just to bring a little bit of shine to the top of it. And it looks a little out of place at the moment, but with a little bit of transpirator coming back with a bit of the olive base, will bring it all back together again and blend those colours together, and you're going to have sort of an artificially rendered model. It's going to look really cool, I hope. There we go. Bring a little bit of attention to the commander's hatch there as well. Lovely. I'm going to do the quickest of blasts on the bogies. Down there, that's looking cool, like that. Shadowed areas, highlighted areas, all looks a little bit out of place at the moment, and we'll bring it all together with some transpirator and some weathering, etc., and some effects. That will look really cool. Lovely. I don't want to overdo it, but I'm going to overdo it because that's my thing. I like to get things wrong. A little bit on the front of the fairings there, that's really nice. Yeah, that's cool. Lovely. Okay, let's get rid of this. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clean the airbrush out, because what I'm going to do now is come back in with a really, at least a 50-50 mix of transpirator and olive base. I might even go like 75% transpirator medium, because what I want to do now is I don't want to saturate the paint job I've had here and just lose all the shadow, lose all the highlights. I might as well just paint it the middle colour and save myself an hour and 45 minutes. So it's really important to have a really soft ratio, really transparent, and it will just tie those colours together. And the best thing is less is more. If I think it needs more, I can come back and do another layer later. And it's just important to let that dry, come back with a fresh eye in daylight or whatever, and just see what it looks like. Because we all know what happens when you rush something in, even though I'm in like it's artificial light, even though it's really good daylight, kind of pretend daylight stuff, it's still artificial, and it's nice to come back with a clean eye in natural settings, because we all know what happens when you don't we, Dad? Yeah. What a lovely black and white Tudor framed building. Next day. Why is it blue? It happens. That was before daylight bulbs though. Long time ago. Right, so back to olive drab. Just the standard base there. Give that a bit of a shake. I'm going to put in... if I put in 1, 2, 3 drops of that with a little bit of bubble, and then I put in 9 drops of transpirator. That's a 75-25 mix, right? So no need to shake it up, there's no pigment in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A little bit of water in the brush as well, that won't go amiss. Just give that a bit of a tumble around in the hopper, mix that all together. What I should have now is a really thinned or transparent olive green. Quick check on the... Could probably even do with a little bit more, but never mind. Right, let's move everything out of the way so I can come in and do it. A nice even coverage. Pop it there. Surprising how effective it is. Oh, I had a little bit of spatter on the airbrush, that's a shame. Let's just see if I can blend that away by applying a little bit of air, because there's so much transpirator medium in there, it's almost like water. And if that does happen, if I get to it quickly, I can move it around and it blends away. Oh, perfect crime, you'd never even know. That has worked so well, and I've not done much at all. Just going to make sure I do it on the sides as well. Doing a little bit heavier on the end over here because I wasn't so accurate with the shadow blend, so just kind of blend that off with a little bit of transpirator. Then on the back, didn't do such a good job with that, so I might have to come back in and do the back end a little bit more. That's okay, can sort that out later, that's fine. The paint has been wearing off on some of the edges on the hull, I've noticed, where I've been holding it, so I've got to pay particular attention to that. It'll be very worth my while getting a varnish spray, and it's just like Adrian was saying earlier on, like the acrylics are so delicate to protect it with a varnish layer, so I don't keep on doing, like with the King Tiger, oh, I kept on doing it all the time, did not learn from my mistakes. I think the pressure is a little bit high in the compressor, and that's kind of giving me some spattery effects because I've got so much transpirator medium in there. Cool. That is a lovely job. I'm going to do the lightest of attempts on this on the bogies. And we're done. Fabulous. It's a really interesting smell that comes out of these high quality paints. The transpirator as well, that's what I'm really getting, is it almost smells like wet clay. I don't know what it is that's in them, but it's a really fascinating smell and it's really quite pleasant. I don't know if it's good for you, it's a ventilated room, so just be aware of that. Don't go around sniffing paints, kids. Just clean the airbrush out there, just put a bit of water through it. And I'm going to turn the compressor off because it is getting uncomfortably warm down there. Fantastic, and just in time, look, the music has changed as well. I love it when it does that, that's so cool. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move this piece of paper away because I know it's going to affect the lighting on the screen. I don't know how that affects it on your screen, but on mine it's really quite a drastic effect. Anyway, there's the tank hull. You can see there's a little bit of paint coming off down here, but I can do some weathering and actually just blend that away. As you can, if I hold it like that, look, it actually looks like the light source from my light here is just kind of like really highlighting the front, and it just looks natural, doesn't it? If I turn it around, you can really see how that has worked. It's really quite clever, and I really like it. I didn't pay much attention to the back end here, and that is going to need a little bit more attention. So what I'm going to do, I will give it all a big varnish. Even down here, like, I can still see bits of white. That's fine. No drama. I'll put a bit of tape over it after, protecting it with some varnish, and I'll be able to come in, just hit it with some directional shadow. Easy peasy. A little bit on the side here didn't work so well. Just excited to get the airbrush out. You can see now we've got a really nice gradient of highlight, working it all the way down into shadow, and that's just so easily achieved, and it was so fun doing it. The turret, I might do a little bit more shadow play and a little bit more highlight on as well. I think I went a bit heavy with the transpirator. It just looks a little bit stock green, and I haven't done a very good job matching in the cannon, but that still looks really nice on top of the tank. And as you can see here, the tracks a little bit darker in comparison underneath, so we've got some directional highlights on those, and when the tracks are painted it's going to look really, really smart. What I'll do at the end of the show is I will take all these sub-assemblies off their bits of blue tack, etc., pop them all together and show you a picture in high def so that you can see them on Facebook, because that is where I like to leave all of my stuff. Yeah, and there we are. That's been that. Let's have a little look at some of the comments going in, but you know what, let's come away from here because we're done for the night, right? Oh, so Kez is talking about, sadly it's a war paint that's no longer made. That must be the war paint stuff from Army Painter. So the colour that you're using for the tyres is no longer made. That is a shame. When you find a paint that you really like and it's no longer manufactured, it's just a bummer, isn't it? There's occasionally on Facebook, on some of the forums on there, you'll see like someone who's got like a pot of Goblin Green from like 1992, and like they're still using it, but you know that when you get through that Goblin Green, it's no more, and it's just a little pot of nostalgia, really. So look after it, don't use it, because once it's gone, it's gone. Anyway, Stafford says, mine is going Dunky Gelby, then trying some camouflagey stuff. Well, do you know what? As long as you take photos and put them on Facebook so that we can all see it, I don't care what you call it. Dunky Gelby. Overlord says, trying to get reduced rent from the old man. Yeah, always. Well, the Tigger is built and undercoated. Base layer next week. So have you built the whole thing tonight? That's been good going. I know you like your building stuff, but that is fast. Oh, excuse me. Yes, so funny. If you need lots of stores still if you need more, lots of stores still have stock. Oh, okay, cool. So your war paint grey, you can still get it. So like a good pair of shoes, if you buy one and you like it, buy two. So go and stock yourself up with a couple of pots perhaps. There you go, that's nice to know, isn't it? Anyway, what we were talking about earlier on, Overlord Games is actually setting up shop at a brick and mortar store. It is so exciting. Overlord Games has come up from the ground up like Easy 8, and I love it when little independent groups all get together and march together under a hobby umbrella. It's really nice when we can all get together and see each other build and grow, and Overlord has done exactly that. It's a really, really big step that I wish that I had the nuts to do with Easy 8, and actually like an idea of what to do, to go from doing something small time on the side, little bit of fun, independent game store provider, whatever, online, to actually going full-blown business is a massive step, and I've got nothing but the highest of respect for you. It takes a lot of courage, and I wish it goes all the best for you. To help with that, some market research that Grant at Overlord is doing is put out a survey. I don't know if you can comment in the comment section right now while it's a live stream, but I know that you can certainly do it later. Is attach that survey to the comments down here, and then of course I'll plug it all over Facebook, whatever, and we'll get as many people in the Easy 8 community to give you some feedback that you will need to help you set up shop. It's really, really exciting. I'm really proud of you, man. That's takes big cojones, a big step. I would love to take Easy 8 in the same direction. I would love to be able to have a brick and mortar store, a physical presence in the world. But it's a painting club, and it's very difficult to kind of think about in a realistic fashion how that's gonna work. The high street is kind of dead. It doesn't really, the high street doesn't exist anymore, and the reason for that is online shopping is killed the high street of the olden days. But the high streets are all still there. There's still buildings, there's still businesses and things like that, and there's like food shops and things like that. You always see those sorts of things in charity shops and whatever. But that still means that the high street is alive and well, and I think that actually, rather than just having like your clothes shops and your whatevers that you'll find, is that you'll start seeing more sort of dedicated services coming to the high street in the next sort of 10 years. That's what I predict. I don't know if I'm Nostradamus or not, but I'd like to see it at the very least. I think that we're going to start seeing things that live or started their lives on the internet coming through it in a niche fashion, because it's cool to be a nerd nowadays, right? And I really hope that we start seeing things like board game cafes and gaming clubs and painting clubs and model shops and things like that appeal to a very specific type of person, type of interest, type of hobby. That's what the high street means to me, and I hope it really goes well for you. I really do. And what can Easy 8 do in that world? Can I have a painting club, a not online painting club? Can I actually have a place that has longevity in the world? Because that's what it's all about. You could set up a shop, but you've got to make it last. And I don't know how Easy 8 can do that. Maybe it is a gaming club. Maybe that's the future of Easy 8, is to have a brick and mortar store as a gaming club and bring a community of people together that way, and then support that with a painting club online. Or even have like a painting club on the side of that as well. I don't know how to go. I don't know how to take Easy 8 in a physical direction. So for now, and for always, Easy 8 will always remain online. But it would be cool one day to have a shop or a store or a building where people can come together and play games. If you've got any ideas like that, answers on a postcard, drop them down there in the comment section. I'd love to know the community's thoughts, because this show is made for the community. And it's you people who make it. All your thoughts, all your ideas, all your dreams can become real if we talk about it. Gaming club, yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to have that. Problem is I'm one of those cretins that has got the dream job. I love what I do, so I'd have to do the two of them at the same time. A not online club? What is this madness? I know, right? Easy 8 started off during the COVID pandemic, and it was a way of bringing people together. It was a way of helping people with mental health and reaching out and providing a space for people to connect, talk and communicate and share the love of their hobby. I was going to stop it after COVID, and people were like, no, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's just allowed us this time to come together and do the thing that we all love doing, but to have a physical presence to do that as well would be wonderful. I don't think that Easy 8's at the size it needs to be able to do that. We need a committed, relatively large and local community to be able to do that, because Easy 8 is global online, but when it comes into the real world, it can only be in one place at this time, and it needs to be larger. So that's more of a reason for you to go and share it with your friends. If you liked what we do here at Easy 8, please do subscribe. Every subscription goes a long way to taking Easy 8 into the next stage and keeping up with people like Overlord, who have just overtaken me in every respect. So yeah, make the community bigger, make it better, make it more fulfilling and brighter. Bring as many people as you can to it. Share, share, share. If you get the 200 subscriptions, I will bring the cats into the studio, and they're going to cause chaos, and I'll do that for you. I don't want to do it, they want it. They're outside the door right now. Every evening during the break, I went outside, and the boy cat is just lying on the floor just outside the door there. The window's open. He wants to go out all the time, but as soon as I'm in here, I want to come in. So if you get me to 200 subscribers, I will do it. Staff says, ooh, an actual gaming club with a full-time studio for Friday nights. Bingo. That's exactly what I've had in my head for a couple of years. It's a pipe dream at the moment, but a pipe dream can become a reality. It just needs the community to grow. But it's exactly what I've got in my head. Taylor O'Hara says, I only exist in a digital medium. My real life form is lacking. Are you like, what was that old 80s? Max Headroom? Was that him? I can't remember now. Stavros? I can't remember. The guy who's like a digital world in a digital box, had really cool hair and used to go like, hey, I can't remember. That's a really terrible impression, but at least it's on the internet for everybody else to watch forever and ever. Adrian says, so would you like to talk about a friendly local gaming store? Would you be talking about a friendly local gaming store? Absolutely. What I don't want to do is step on other people's toes. I don't want to, for example, I don't want to do what Overlord Games are doing, and have to compete and have to fight and one person suffer under the other. I think that there is room in the world for everyone to work cooperatively. We're all here for the same reason, and that is a love of the hobby, love of games, paints, and etc. So trying to find your place to slot into that world is really important. However, that being said, there is enough distance physically in the world between me and all the other people that I support. So I'm here in North Devon. Overlord Games is in Wales. That's a decent enough distance away. Other people who I support are the Pit Gaming Store, all the way over in North London. That's miles away. Then there's Blightforge Studios, all the way down in Cornwall. But it's a totally different product, so I'm not going to be stepping on anyone's shoes there. So I think that if we are seriously talking about taking Easy 8 in that direction, focusing primarily on being a gaming institution with a painting club to support and maybe a small storefront to help provide supplies. But what I'd like to be able to do is share in the way that the community works already and pull in suppliers from other people. So rather than me providing the stuff that Overlord would do, I'd go like, well, reach out to Grun at Overlord. He can supply you with all the models that you want. That's the way it works. It's a cooperative venture. Finding the slot, the niche in the market, if you like, and making it work around that. Yeah, Max Headroom. Yeah, I thought it was. That was a blast from the past. That was right at the back of the memory bank. So my brain went, yep, that piece of information. But I don't know what I did with my car keys or my passport. ADHD. Anyway, look, what an exciting evening it's been. Love it. Thank you ever so much for coming along, guys. Please do subscribe. Can I get my hands around the word subscribe? Nope. Okay, cool. I've had a great night painting. There's a little bit of repair work to do on it. Going to do some varnishing to protect all of that as well. Really excited to move on to some detailing, into some, not weathering, but washing, shading, staining, and then a few details. Yeah, exciting stuff. Not too late to buy yourself a tank or a unit or anything to provide as a donation to Duncan's Band of Brothers. There is a little link down there to Band of Brothers. Go and check that out. It's a really exciting charity, and we've still got time before the 20th of May, where Duncan needs all of these donations to be given to him to take them over to Normandy, to Utah Beach, where he's going to do the big display of the UK Games Expo in Birmingham. Your stuff could be on the table. If you want to get yourself a unit, make sure that it fits into June 44 as the latest. Have a chat with Grant at Overlord. There's a link down there for it. Buy yourself a unit with 5% off of an already discounted price. And be a part of history. Anyway, that is enough from me this evening. I'm going to leave it on this screen so I don't make the same mistake I've done for the last couple of weeks. And until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Love you all. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'll take a little picture of the cats for your table of horrors. Stick it up somewhere on Facebook or YouTube for you.